Dead Tribe from Los Angeles. Oh, they'll be playing next year. Actually, I'm heading down. I'm heading down to Los Angeles on January 12th for the LA Punk Flea Market. Dead Tribe will be performing there, along with, let's see, Iconoclast, Violencia from TJ, Resistance Exists, Traitor, Who Gives a Fuck, and Civil Evacuation. And Civil Evacuation, I guess they're having a new album out or something, either album or 7-inch out. And this will be at the First Street Billiards. And the address is 1906 East First Street, Los Angeles, California. If you go to Facebook page for the event, just type in LA Punk Flea Market on January 12th. So there's going to be also a fashion show there, DIY fashion show by Audie Thunder's Clothing. And a lot of vendors. Vendors will be Anarcho Feminism, Crudo Distro, Psycho Brigade, Overthrowing Bendix, Authority and the State, Alfie's Treats, E7's Punk, Discontrol Punk Shop. Let's see, Drip Tone Records, goes on and on. So there'll be a lot of records, zines, cassette tapes, patches, shirts, and this event is organized by Roman, drummer from Resistance Exists, Roman, and also I believe who else is helping out is singer from Corrupted Youth. He's helping out as well. Oh shit, what was his name? Nacho, yes, Nacho is helping out as well. So it should be an interesting show. That's January 12th. Okay, here in Northern California, not that much to cover about the punk scene today, but we're gonna cover some activist scene. Today we had a Food Not Bombs gathering, so I went there to check it out. I stayed for one workshop and had a chance to interview co-founder Keith McHenry from Food Not Bombs. So this is at the Omni Center. Let's go to the Food Not Bombs event at the Omni Center, and here's the interview. Okay, we're here with Keith McHenry, co-founder of Food Not Bombs. I met you in the 80s during the Nevada test site.
Right.
Many years ago.
Yeah, that would have been in 88, I believe. Yeah.
You were going around and asking people who want miso soup.
Yes.
But you came up to you want miso soup. Oh, how much is it? It's free. Yeah. I was really shocked. So Food Not Bombs, so how did you stay involved after all these years without getting burnt out?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. One, the people that you meet are really inspiring to work with. And I think that's one of the things. The other thing is that the way that the world is organized and everything with wars and poverty and so on, I just feel like I just have to do something about it. And so every morning when I wake up and I hear something on the radio or something about what's going on, I'm just like, oh man, I've got to be involved and try to change society. I think another thing was actually being arrested and being in jail really helped me, because I started to realize that every minute I was out of jail was so important, and I wanted to make the most of my time I was out of jail. I did about 500 days just for feeding people in San Francisco, and I spent time in other jails. And so I had this real wow, I gotta make every moment count. Well, we have the three principles that the food is vegan and free to everyone, rich or poor, drunk or sober. But also that Food Not Bombs is not, and that Food Not Bombs has no leaders and no headquarters. But most importantly, and possibly, is that Food Not Bombs is not a charity that is dedicated to changing society. So to taking nonviolent direct action to change society, so no one has to live on the streets or eat in soup kitchens. And what that means is that not only, so for example, we were involved in helping organize kitchens during Occupy and help building for Occupy. And we had kitchens in, I think, roughly 300 cities in the world, is what I recall at the time, that were not called Food Not Bombs, but it was the Food Not Bombs activists that we had the logistics, we had the equipment, we knew we had the food. We were able to help organize these 99% cafes and things like that at Occupy. Or with the anti-war movement, we would go and they'd bring out food and help build efforts against, like at the beginning of the Iraq War,
Mm-hmm.
or you know, when, like in Ferguson, when Black Lives Matter was happening, Food Not Bombs St. Louis would come out and bring food to the protest to help keep the protests going, and so it's food related, but it's also feeding the movement and logistical support. The other thing is that we've been involved in a lot of relief efforts. So you yourself might have been involved in the Northridge earthquake feedings. I don't know, were you doing that?
No, not
No, but so Food Not Bombs was out of Northridge doing feeding survivors of that.
Long Beach was doing that at that time, but I was not.
But you were not in Long
Yes.
Beach, okay. And then there was also the Loma Prieta earthquake up here. For the first 3 days, we were doing food here. We had a kitchen and fed thousands of people after Sandy in New York City, in Brooklyn, and in Staten Island. And then we also did a lot of Katrina. We actually had a huge operation feeding people. The Red Cross was giving out our toll-free number for the survivors of Katrina. So that happened all through that time as well. So disaster relief has been something Food Not Bombs has been involved in. And then we've also been involved in squatting. So we were
housekeeping.
Yeah, we did like Homes Not Jails. So Food Not Bombs was kind of the core. Us and the San Francisco Tenants Union would take over like 400 buildings in San Francisco during the savings and loan crisis. We were very involved in pirate radio. Many Food Not Bombs activists did that. We were the co-founders, so we're really the founders of Indie Media.
Yes.
So we started that. We were in a coalition with October 22nd No Police Brutality movement. So we've also Food Not Lawns. We've helped organize like community gardens, Bikes Not Bombs. So we have like this whole variety of non-hierarchical ways of organizing our communities outside of the power structure, independent from the state and independent from corporate power as much as possible. And so we've just had that focus for 38 years at one level or another.
So, in the late 80s to 90s, we used to see a lot of punk rockers and anarcho punks getting involved with Food Not Bombs, starting chapters of Food Not Bombs, different places.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that these days we don't see punk rockers getting involved with Food Not Bombs?
Well, actually, I think in the United States we do have a lot less. The punk scene in the U.S. does not seem as connected to anarcho-punk as it was. I would say that is not true, though, in other parts of the world. I mean, particularly in Southeast Asia and the Philippines, the punk scene and Food Not Bombs, or in Indonesia, the punk scene and Food Not Bombs is like really tight. Or in Bangkok, Thailand, for example.
I've been seeing on your walls, and you always post pictures of punk being actively involved with Food Not Bombs.
Yeah.
Their whole countries and stuff.
Yeah, like the anarcho-punk ideology is very strong in a lot of the world. Latin America, that's not so much, for whatever reason, the community that started up Lima, Peru, Food Not Bombs is kind of more animal rights organized and not so punk rock. Whereas in Mexico, punk scene and Food Not Bombs is very connected in most cases. Europe, you'll see like France, a lot of the punk scene and Food Not Bombs are connected there. And you see that also in a lot of Eastern Europe. But yeah, it's true. Like in the United States, even the punk scene itself has not seemed to be as vibrant as it once was. And I don't know what that's about, although the ethics and the ideas of Food Not Bombs and punk are still the same, you know. And early on, Food Not Bombs, like when we first we were trying to get the punk scene and Food Not Bombs connected from the very beginning in 1980.
Yes, and you guys just go to the punk shows and set up booths?
Yeah, we'd set up booths at every punk show. We would organize punk concerts. I don't know why the punk scene is not quite so strong in the U.S. right now as it once was. You know, it still does exist, of course, but it somehow has morphed into Could be because the economy is so crappy right now that people feel like they can't be too punk or they won't be able to be employed or something like that. Could be like that.
Just to rewind a little bit back to Philippines,
Uh-huh.
all those punks got arrested. What is going on with that thing?
Okay, so what is the
Funapang.
yeah, the Funapang, so the when the dictator came to power, Duterte, he announced that he was going to have a war on drugs, and he told everyone, go out and start killing drug dealers. We're not going to arrest you or investigate for homicide. And the police department started working with the federal government to do that. And so he comes from Davos, Philippines, a southern city, where Funapang has been active for, I think, over almost 20 years. And he was the mayor of that city, and he was brutal. And so the two of the Funapang volunteers, when they went home, the police followed them to the house. And they broke in, tortured them with cigarettes and so on, and eventually killed both of them as part of the drug war. And then two people up in a community north of Manila were also, they were lured away. A lot of people in the Philippines, Funapang's movement, make a living by being tricycle operators. It's like a little small taxi. And
Right.
for like a couple of pesos, you take someone across town. And the very essential part of transportation. Many Funapang groups actually transport their food in these motorized tricycles. And so they were hired by somebody who was actually working with the police and went to some location that they were hired to take them to. It turned out the police were there. When they got there, they were shot to death. And so then another one of our volunteers has ended up was framed on the drug war and been put in prison. And so there's a campaign to get him out. And there's been a lot more brutal murders even of other people, like lawyers and journalists in the drug war since our volunteers were killed, two of them in July and two in September of 2018. And so there's a national day of protest on November 17th, or worldwide day of protest on November 17th against state violence and against the murder of people in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here at the California Funapang's gathering, and we're pointing out there's a similar thing going on in Mexico, and Funapang's people have been killed, fortunately, in that war. But this using the drug war as an excuse to kill political opponents in different countries is definitely growing, and we see that Trump has supported the Filipino extrajudicial murders. We see that the new president of Brazil has spoken favorably of starting that campaign in Brazil. We see that the government of Hungary is giving lip service to that. This is becoming a way that fascist governments are starting to give the green light that maybe people are on drugs and therefore we can just start killing them, and whether they are or not, we don't need to have trials, and we just unleash the right wing in our community, give them guns, give them protection, let them start killing the opponents to the state.
We're listening to Existence. Okay, that's Existence from the Say Nothing But Speaking My Mind full CD. I guess they remastered this and released it last year. These are all brand new songs. They have 9 tracks on this. And yeah, when you have a chance, you could just Google search it and stuff to get the CD. If you never heard of Existence, they're like an 80s anarcho punk band who had a very strong message toward animal rights. They were Motorhead recording artists. They used to release stuff on Motorhead Records, and I believe Fight Back 7-inch as well. That was another offshoot Motorhead label. And but anyways, they're still together. I guess they got back, and this full album CD came out last year. and you can find them on Facebook as well, Existence.